Sometimes when we come to site, they will call an architect engineer. They will call engineer architect because the engineer is designing, and because the architect came to site, they call him an engineer. No. Today I want to tell you the difference between an architect and engineer. There is a very big difference between an architect and engineer. When you change the meaning of an architect, they will tell you that an architect is the chief builder. And what does it mean when they say chief? Chief builder is the person in charge, overall in charge of anything that happens in a building construction industry. He is in charge of everything. That is why he's the one that designs. The engineer is there to translate what he has designed. And when somebody is speaking and he has an interpreter, it doesn't mean that that person interpreting is the one speaking. He's not the one speaking. When somebody has written a book and you are reading what that person wrote, you are not the one that wrote that. You are just reading what the writer has written. An architect is a writer, while an engineer is a reader. An architect is a creator, while an engineer is an interpreter. An architect designs your building and supervises to ensure that the engineer is building according to design. Engineer is answerable to an architect. The architect is answerable to the owner of the building. You see the chain. Most of the students have been asking me, what's the difference between this course and this course? Even so many people enter school and saw that it's a different course entirely. An architect is the peak of building construction industry, whether they like it or not. That is the meaning of chief builder. An architect is a consultant. You understand? The work of an architect is very, very big. That's why we spend so much time in school with rigorous training and sufferings that we pass through in school. Right from first year, I started designing a very mighty project, semester project from first year. If you see project that we design and we will model it, you will know that yes, architecture. That's why one of the most difficult and expensive course to study is architecture. Although engineering is equally difficult. Engineering is equally difficult because it's majorly based on calculation. Because they calculate the load strength, they solve more physics and mathematics. You understand? But people that understands building, people that has depth understanding of building is the architect. You understand? So I want to make it clear so that everybody will understand. Most of you that have been asking will understand that the difference and the work of architect and an engineer, they are not the same course. They are not. Sometimes when we come to site, they will call an architect engineer. They will call engineer architect because the engineer is designing, and because the architect came to site, you call him an engineer. No, it's a distinct, different profession. It's a different profession. In a medical world, an architect can be likened to a doctor, while an engineer will be likened to a nurse. I know that this may cause misunderstanding. So many people will misunderstand me, but that is the bitter truth. The architect writes down, designs, guide, give detail of everything that concerns the building will be built. Why the engineer is an action man that will take that design and develop it with the supervision of an architect. Get it clear. The mistake landlords and owners of buildings normally make is when they want to start a project, when an architect finishes designing, they will now forget about an architect and focus on an engineer for the engineer to continue the project. They will forget that without the guidance of an architect, the engineer will build a different building. And there is everything in that building plan is already calculated. And when an architect is not involved, the engineer will build a different thing, which will cause another thing tomorrow. Another thing that you don't know. You'll be spending to maintain a building because your architect was not there. When you are building a house, ensure that you carry your architect along in every level of the building to supervise the engineer, to ensure that the engineer is building according to design, to ensure that the engineer is building according to the design. Don't make a mistake of leaving your architect behind. It's very bad and it will affect you tomorrow. It's like telling a nurse to take over the treatment because you cannot pay the doctor. If something arises, it's on your head. Don't cut corners in something like building. Imagine building a house, after that the building collapses when up to 50 or 100 people are inside the building. When the building crashes, lives will be lost and your finance will only be lost. That's why you should ensure to carry your architect along. He is the chief builder. He's the one that will guide the engineer. You understand? That's the difference between an architect and an engineer. An architect designs, presents, detail everything of the building, while an engineer goes to site and build according to the supervision of an architect. So I know that so many engineers will misunderstand this, but that is it. That's how it is. Thank you. I'm Aliko Kechukwu Success from King's Architects and Building Construction.